United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
That's what's happening. These are the people we're letting in. And you remember where she was saying that they don't commit crimes like our people. Really? These are worse than anybody. They make our criminals look like they're nice people. These are rough, horrible people. They cannot be allowed to stay in our country. The United States is now an occupied country, in effect. But on November 5th, 2024, we will have a thing called Liberation Day. We're going to have Liberation Day. In the last year alone, over 70,000 illegal aliens from China have crossed our border. You know about that. Many of them military-aged men, 70,000 in a year. 70,000, that's getting to be Army territory. And that's the equivalent of over 14 brigades or 5 Army divisions of Chinese illegals that have penetrated our country. Again, these are military-aged, mostly men, almost all men. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that nice? Under Borders O'Hara, she has no idea. The woman doesn't have a clue. Again, she's sleeping now while I'm working my ass off. Under Borders O'Hara, there have been at least 2 million gotaways. That's gotaways. They come through and nobody knows where the hell they're from. And that's, by the way, nobody has any idea. The number, if they think it's 2 million, it's probably 5 times that amount. 2 million gotaways from all over the world who charged the border and disappeared into the United States. They could be living right next to you in North Carolina, lovely house, little cabin right next to you. More than the entire active duty force of the United States military. This is the kind of numbers we're talking about, and they're rough. They're rough people. Who would have allowed this to happen? Who would have allowed this to happen? The only good thing coming from this crime against our country is if you happen to be the person that's running against the idiots that allowed it to take place. That's me. I'm running against them. It's good to run against it, but I'd rather not be running against it, and I'd rather not have it happen. Immediately upon taking the oath of office, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. We have no idea. We have no choice. It's not sustainable. I will rescue every town across America that's been invaded and conquered. They're conquering. They are conquering towns. And these fools, these stupid people back there, the media, they're going to say, oh, he used the word conquer. You know, the governor of Colorado, he's a radical left Democrat. He's petrified he doesn't know what to do. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in a jail or kick them the hell out of our country as fast as we can. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. 1790, you know why? That's when we had real politicians, real people that knew what to do, not these weak, woke fools. So I have to go back to 1798, can you believe it? But it's a strong one. Think of it, Alien Enemies Act of 1798, and they used it to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil to make our people safe. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I am hereby calling for the death penalty. And we have to do this. I'm calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or an law enforcement officer. You kill an American citizen or a law enforcement officer, you get the death penalty. And we'll get that approved, too, because Congress is going to approve it. They're feeling the way you are. I will end catch and release. Thank you. I have to ask this man in the black, are you the man that I met yesterday or not? That's a pretty, you're just as good. No, I met some great people yesterday. I saw the devastation. It was incredible. He just said, no, you didn't meet me, but I love you, man. Thank you. That's cool. You're very cool. You're very cool. Thank you. I will end. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will end all migrant flights. You know, they fly in by plane. They come in. You know, we only learned that like less than a year ago. They said, we're going to start closing up the border a little bit. Well, all they have to do, she could walk into the White House, say, wake Biden up. I want him to sign something. And all he has to do is say, close the border. He doesn't need a bill. The bill was so horrible. You know, he says, Donald Trump called the Senate, said, don't pass it. It's wonderful. I wish I could do that, okay? Not that easy. But the truth is, I had nothing to do with it. And I would be proud to do it because it was such a bad bill. But he doesn't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border. I had the safest border. You see it. I had the safest border in the history of our country. We now have the worst border in the history of the world, maybe in the history of the world. And again, it's the number one thing to campaign on. I mean, I think the inflation is horrible, the economy, everything. We have a lot of bad things. The number, when you see those killers, those guys that have military-style weapons. I mean, people are saying, where the hell do people coming out of Venezuela, young thugs that are tough as hell, by the way, where do they get this equipment? But I think it's the number one thing, and we're going to have it fixed. You know, I fixed it in 2016. I fixed it. I did it so good I couldn't talk about it for the next election. My people said, sir, they don't want to hear about the border. I said, what do you mean you don't want to hear? I did such a great job. I fixed it. We had the best border. But that border was 5% of what it is now. That border was bad. It was really bad, but it wasn't very tough for me to fix. That border was nothing compared to the mess you have now. We don't have a border. And I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built much more than I said I was going to build. Then we added 200, and they didn't want to put up the slats. And you know what they did? Many of them were sold for 5 cents on the dollar. It's just so, it was sold. I will outlaw sanctuary cities immediately, and I will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegals. We are running against the most radical, most incompetent, most unfit vice president running for president. Can you believe it? In the history of our country, she's totally unfit for office. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. And something is clearly wrong with her. Something is wrong with her. Something's wrong with her, and something's wrong with this vice president. He is off. She can't put two sentences together. How about 60 Minutes? Was that the greatest? You know, we're probably going to sue him just for the hell of it. Listen. 60 Minutes, she interviews. She was so bad. She gave an answer. This never happened to me. Why does it happen? She gave an answer that was so bad that they changed it. They took it out, threw it out. They didn't like edit a little bit, take a word out. No. They took the entire, it was a long, stupid, she didn't know where the hell she was going. Does she drink? Is she on drugs? I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, I got you. Yeah, but you can't post that shit. You show what we doing. We gon' go live. I just took a flick, sent it over now, and it's viral when it's lit. Yeah, we gon' go live. Stack it to the ceiling. Don't care what they feeling. We gon' get this money now. We gon' go live. I just took a flick, sent it over now, and it's viral when it's lit. Yeah, we gon' go live. Stack it to the ceiling. Don't care what they feeling. We gon' get this money now. We gon' go live. And we gon' go live. Yeah. Oh, I just put up with something nice. Pull up in something right. Pull up and let them know this shit ain't light. It ain't light. I just caught this new one. Put it on this new one. Now we on the story trying to see something. Scrolling all day. Looking for something nice so I could take it on the play. Went right down when she heard the sound. She turned the phone off and told me that she want it now. Take a flick, take some shit. We been rolling overnight and shit. She wants to be my number one. She don't know that so many beautiful, they all want some. We gon' go live. I just took a flick, sent it over now, and it's viral when it's lit. Yeah, we gon' go live. Stack it to the ceiling.